Hey, how are you doing? My name is Shu. In this video, I want to talk about 7 things that I bought recently that had a huge impact on my life. So let's get started. I got a SteamDeck about 2 months ago just because it looked interesting. But it turns out it was one of the best purchases I made last year. Now I play it nearly every day and I love it. It reminds me of PSP. That is really nostalgic for me because I used to play a lot of games on PSP with my friends when I was in middle school. So I was kind of expecting something similar, but this thing, it's so much better, which is of course obvious, but look at the screen, it's huge. If you compare it with a Nintendo Switch, you can see that it is a lot bigger. So even though it's a handheld console, the screen doesn't feel small at all. It's just really nice to be able to play games that I could only play on my computer before. Anywhere. I can play Fallout 4, Horizon, Cyberpunk, or Final Fantasy 7 while laying on my bed or couch, and that's incredible. The only issue I have is the heat. It gets really hot on the back when you're using it, but you know, that's bearable. I love my M2 MacBook Air. It's super light, but powerful enough to do heavy video editing. But this foldable stand from MOFT makes it even better. It's not just a typical stand because it can cool your laptop while you're using it, because it's made of a special material called graphene, which is excellent at dissipating heat. It can reduce the surface temperature of a laptop by up to 5 degrees Celsius, which is about 41 degrees Fahrenheit. For someone who does a little bit of heavy editing, this is a really big deal. And it is super slim and lightweight, so you don't even notice it is there. Of course, you can use it as a regular stand too. This also helps prevent my MacBook Air from overheating, and also helps relieve my wrist and neck pain because I can use my wrist in a more natural position. And then you can get the screen up to almost the same level as your eyes, which is good for your posture and neck. If you have a laptop, I highly recommend getting a stand like this one. If you're looking for an easy, short workout that you can do during breaks, I love my Kettlebell. I discovered this through Tim Ferriss's podcast where he talks about his favorite exercises, and he recommends kettlebell swings because it works on so many muscles at once. All you have to do is swing it back and forth 10 to 20 times and you're going to feel it in your whole body. I used to do squats and push-ups every time I take a break when I worked from home. But now I do kettlebell swings instead. That way I can use my entire body and I don't have to set up anything. I just take it and start swinging. It's not that expensive too. It should cost less than $40. So if you want to do brief exercises that are effective during breaks, it's perfect. Also, I recommend watching Tim's videos because he explains why this is great, so much better than me. Okay, this might be actually the best thing I bought recently because it helps me understand how each food and activity affects my body. It's a continuous glucose monitor. It's a little sensor that monitors your blood sugar levels, and you scan it with your phone and you get information about what your glucose levels are and how they change based on what you ate and what you're doing. So essentially, the higher your glucose levels are and the more frequently your glucose levels go up and down, the more damage you're doing to your body. I got this because I was reading this book called Glucose Revolution, which explains how your glucose levels affect your performance mentally and physically, and that made me curious about my glucose levels. But turns out I have relatively high blood sugar levels. Ever since then, I've been trying to eat better and exercise more, and that is the biggest benefit of getting this little thing. It completely changed my lifestyle because you can immediately see the impact of being lazy and eating junk food. Whereas if you exercise and eat well, you can see the number go down and be stable, which is very motivating. Anyway, this sensor, it's called Freestyle Libre by a company called Abbott. But if you live in the US, you can get the one by Levels, who has a better mobile app. I honestly wanted to get Levels, but unfortunately, it's only available in the US. If you live in Europe, I'd recommend Very, which also has a great mobile app. But if you live outside of US or Europe, like me, you can just get Freestyle Libre. The app is alright. Speaking of glucose levels, another big help for me was meditation and breathing exercises. To be honest, meditation never really worked for me. I didn't feel the benefits, so I gave up. But in an attempt to lower my glucose levels, I tried it again. And this time, I did a breathing exercise called Humming Pranayama, which is an ancient form of yoga breathing technique. and it worked really good. When I did it for the first time, I saw a big drop in my glucose levels, and every time I meditate or do breath work, it goes down a little bit, which makes sense because your stress levels and glucose levels are somewhat linked. Anyway, I've been loving using this app called Aura, who is kindly sponsoring this video. It's like Spotify for your mind. What's different about this is that it comes with so many tools for relaxing and sleeping, such as breathwork, meditation, soundscapes, sleep stories, and some self-therapy sessions. For me, they have this particular breathwork called Humming Pranayama, which is the one I do every day, and I don't think other meditation apps have this one. Anyway, if you want to try Aura, you can try it for free. They gave me a special discount code for us, so the first 500 people will get a free trial and 25% discount. And that's huge. I leave the link in the description so you can start using it right away. Cardio workouts at home have never been fun for me, but VR changed everything. This is the Meta Quest 2 that I got as my Christmas gift from my girlfriend. I thought I'd use it for just gaming, but turns out it is a great device for exercise. I had no idea they had so many workout apps on the store, and some of them are extremely well made. For example, I downloaded this workout app called Les Mills Body Combat. I think it's the most popular workout app for VR, and I can see why. It makes exercising like playing a video game. It has different levels of workouts from light to advanced. And after doing an intermediate or advanced workout, I'm properly soaked in sweat. It can be like 30 minutes long, but you don't feel it because it's actually enjoyable. But you know, of course, it's not just for exercising. I really like Meta's virtual office app, where you can work in a super cozy place. You can link your actual computer or laptop and use it in the virtual office. This way you can do your normal work on a huge screen with multiple windows. But the problem is that your neck gets painful after like an hour or so because this thing isn't so light, but you know, it's fun and useful to use from time to time. I talked about this thing in my previous video, but I really like my hybrid 2-in-1 mobile battery. It can be a charger when you plug it in, but also can be a mobile battery that you can take with you. I love how small it is, but it has lots of power. It can charge an iPhone like twice and your laptop once, and it's super fast. It's from a small Japanese startup company called Matek, so you have to ship it from Japan if you want it, but there are a few kind of similar products from Anker, I think. I put the link in the description so you can check. I sometimes struggle to fall asleep at night, and I usually play a sleep story or podcast on my sleep mask headphones, and that usually does the trick and I fall asleep before I even notice. I do recommend these headphones, by the way, but that's not what I want to talk about. It's actually this tea called SleepyTime Extra, which is a blend of chamomile and valerian, both of which are excellent for sleep. It's called extra because it has more chamomile than typical tea for sleep, and it works so well. I get really sleepy and drowsy when I drink this tea, so if you're having trouble falling asleep at night, I highly recommend this tea. Alright, so that was a list of my things that seriously had a huge impact on my life. I hope you can find something from this list that helps you too. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Let me know your favorite thing you bought recently in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!